Let's try another thought experiment. You have been entered into nature's birth lottery. There are millions of possible outcomes. You could become a baby elephant surrounded by protective relatives. You could become a wolf pup sleeping beside your mother in a warm den. You could even become a pampered house dog whose greatest challenge is convincing a human that you have not eaten dinner, despite having eaten dinner 17 minutes ago. The wheel begins to spin. It passes golden retriever, it passes dolphin, it passes spoiled indoor cat. Then it slows down and lands on baby sea turtle. Congratulations! You're about to begin life buried alive under half a meter of sand, surrounded by approximately 100 siblings with no parents, no food, and no instruction. Your first task will be to dig yourself out of the ground using flippers designed for swimming. Your second task will be to cross a beach filled with animals trying to eat you. Your third task will be to throw yourself into an ocean filled with even more animals trying to eat you. And you must do most of this in a single night. Humans usually celebrate birth with blankets, photographs, and relatives arguing over who the baby resembles. Your relatives are going to celebrate your birth by crawling over your face while you all attempt to escape a collapsing underground chamber. There will be no mother waiting outside. There will be no father offering encouragement. There will be no wise elderly turtle standing beside the nest saying, "Follow me, little one." You will be alone from the moment you emerge. This is the story of how a baby sea turtle survives the most dangerous night of its life. Your story begins several weeks before you hatch, when your mother crawls out of the ocean at night. Calling her your mother is biologically accurate, but emotionally generous. She will never meet you. She will never recognize you. She will never teach you how to swim, what to eat, or which enormous shadow in the water is planning to swallow you. Her parenting strategy is closer to hiding a time capsule and leaving the country. She drags herself onto the beach using powerful front flippers. In water, she moves with the smooth confidence of an underwater aircraft. On land, she resembles a heavy suitcase attempting to climb a staircase. Every movement is exhausting. Her body is supported by water for nearly her entire life. On the beach, gravity suddenly remembers she exists. Her shell presses downward. Sand collapses beneath her. Each pull leaves a wide track behind her as she moves beyond the reach of ordinary waves. When she finds a suitable location, she uses her rear flippers to excavate a deep, flask-shaped chamber. She cannot see directly behind herself, so she digs largely by touch, scooping sand away with careful, alternating movements. Then she begins laying eggs, one after another. Round, soft-shelled eggs drop into the chamber. A loggerhead nest commonly contains about 100 eggs, though the number varies. Your mother may produce several nests during a single breeding season, separated by roughly 2-week intervals. You land in a pile of siblings. You do not know which egg is yours because at this point, you are mostly an embryo with excellent future potential and absolutely no practical skills. When she finishes, your mother covers the chamber. She packs down the sand, disguises the nest, and scatters loose material around it to make the exact location less obvious to predators. Then she turns toward the ocean. This is the closest you will ever come to meeting her. She does not wait for you to hatch. She does not leave snacks. She does not place a tiny note inside the nest reading, "The ocean is east." Good luck. She crawls back into the waves and disappears. From a human perspective, this may look like abandonment. From a sea turtle's perspective, it is the only system available. An adult female cannot remain beside the nest to protect it. She is built for the sea, not for guarding a hole in the sand for 2 months. Her investment is in producing many eggs and placing them where at least some might survive. Your mother has completed her role. Your role is to somehow survive everything that happens next. Loggerheads generally lay several nests in a season, with about 100 eggs in each, and the eggs incubate in the sand for roughly 2 months. There is no sunlight, there is no open air. There is no view of the ocean waiting outside. Your entire universe is a flexible white shell pressed against other flexible white shells. Yet the sand around you is already influencing your future. Sea turtles do not have sex chromosomes that determine whether they develop as male or female in the same way humans do. Instead, the temperature inside the nest plays a major role. Cooler conditions tend to produce more males. Warmer conditions tend to produce more females. This means your biological sex is partly decided by weather, shade, rainfall, nest depth, season, and the amount of sunlight heating the beach. Humans use astrology to claim that the position of planets at birth determines personality. Sea turtles have something more immediate. The temperature of the ground determines part of their anatomy. If you are near the warmer center of the nest, surrounded by developing siblings, you may experience slightly different conditions from an egg near the cooler outer edge. Even within a single nest, temperatures can vary. While you develop, danger is already present. Heavy rain can flood the nest. A storm surge can push seawater through the sand. Roots can penetrate the chamber. Fungi and bacteria can damage eggs. Predators can smell what is hidden below. Raccoons, foxes, wild pigs, dogs, and other animals may dig into nests depending on the region. Ghost crabs can attack eggs or wait for hatchlings near the surface. Ants can invade. On some beaches, humans take eggs for food or trade. You have not opened your eyes, and the neighborhood is already hostile. But suppose your nest remains intact. Inside the egg, your body takes shape. Your front flippers grow long and powerful. Your rear flippers remain smaller. A curved shell forms over your back. Your beak develops. Your lungs prepare for a world you have never breathed. You are not receiving meals through an umbilical cord. Your egg contains a yolk supply that fuels your development. Near hatching, some yolk remains attached to your body and continues providing energy during the first critical stage of your journey. This is useful because no one will feed you after you emerge. Your first breakfast will not occur at a convenient time. You may go days before successfully finding tiny prey. For now, you remain folded inside your shell while the beach above continues as though you do not exist. Tourists walk past. Birds search the shoreline. Waves rise and fall. The moon changes shape underneath all of it. Approximately 100 tiny reptiles are preparing to launch the world's least organized prison break. Sand temperature influences sea turtle sex. Incubation length, hatching success and early performance. Warmer nests generally produce more females, while cooler nests produce more males. After roughly 2 months, you begin to hatch. You use a temporary pointed structure on your beak, often called an egg tooth or caruncle, to tear through the shell. This sounds dramatic, but it does not happen like an action hero punching through a wall. You are cramped, weak, and folded into a space barely larger than your body. You scrape, push, and twist. The shell tears slowly. Fluid surrounds you. Pieces of the egg collapse inward. Eventually, your head and flippers emerge. You have successfully escaped one container and entered another. The nest chamber is dark, hot, and crowded. Broken shells fill gaps between your siblings. Sand presses downward from above. You cannot simply climb straight to the surface because the chamber may be buried dozens of centimeters deep. Fortunately, you're not working alone. As turtles hatch, their movement loosens the surrounding sand. Those near the top scrape upward. Those below push against shells and sand, gradually raising the floor of the chamber. The entire group functions like a living elevator. No one is coordinating this. There is no team captain. One hatchling is not shouting, "Front flippers together, lift on 3." The behavior emerges from dozens of bodies moving in the same direction. You crawl over siblings. Siblings crawl over you. A flipper hits your eye. Someone's shell presses against your face. Another turtle uses your back as a staircase. Personal space has not yet been invented. The climb may take several days. You do not race directly from egg to beach. The group slowly rises as loose sand falls beneath you, and the chamber moves upward. Near the surface, something stops you. Heat. During the day, the upper layers of sand can become dangerously warm. Hatchlings usually become more active when the sand cools, which often encourages nighttime emergence. Darkness also reduces overheating and may decrease exposure to some daytime predators. So you wait beneath the final layer. Above you is open air. Below you is a chamber full of shells. Around you are siblings pushing from every direction. As evening arrives, the surface cools. Movement begins again. Sand shifts. A crack forms overhead. One turtle breaks through, then another. The top of the nest appears to boil as tiny heads and flippers erupt from the ground. You pull yourself onto the surface and take your first breath of open air. You are only a few centimeters long. Your shell is dark and soft compared with that of an adult. Your flippers look oversized. Your eyes are large. Grains of sand cover your face. You have finally been born into the outside world. It immediately tries to kill you. Hatchlings commonly dig upward as a group, and the process of leaving the nest can take days before a mass emergence at the surface. The moment you emerge, instinct tells you to move. You do not stretch. You do not examine your surroundings. You do not turn to your siblings and say, "Well, that was traumatic." Your front flippers begin dragging you across the sand. Somewhere ahead is the ocean. Between you and that ocean is a battlefield disguised as a beach. To a human, the distance may look short. Perhaps the water is only 30 or 40 meters away. To you, it may as well be another continent. Your body is built for swimming, not walking. Each front flipper sweeps forward and pulls against the sand. Your belly drags. Loose grains collapse beneath you. Progress comes in tiny bursts. Imagine trying to cross a football field by performing continuous push-ups while wearing a backpack and being chased by birds. That is your first experience of exercise. The beach is covered with obstacles. Footprints become pits. Sand castles become walls. Beach chairs become confusing forests of metal legs. Deep holes dug by visitors can trap you. Vehicle tracks form trenches that your tiny body may struggle to cross. Plastic cups, towels, and discarded fishing line can block or entangle you. Even natural objects become enormous at your scale. A piece of driftwood is a fallen tree. A clump of seaweed is a jungle. A shell fragment is a sharp boulder. Then the predators arrive. Ghost crabs wait beside burrows with claws raised. To a human, they are small beach animals. To you, they are pale armored monsters capable of grabbing a flipper and dragging you underground. Night herons, gulls, and other birds may patrol the shore. Raccoons and foxes search for movement. Feral dogs can destroy nests or catch hatchlings. Depending on the beach, nearly anything that eats meat may consider you a convenient snack. Your survival strategy is not strength. You have no claws worth mentioning. Your beak is tiny. Your shell is not yet a fortress. You cannot outrun most predators. Your strategy is numbers. Dozens of siblings emerge together, creating too many moving targets for every predator to catch. This is sometimes called predator swamping. The predators can eat some of you, but ideally, they cannot eat all of you. In other words, your best defense is hoping your neighbor looks easier to grab. This is not noble, but it is effective enough for the species to continue. A crab lunges at the turtle beside you. A bird drops from above. Shadows sweep across the sand. You keep crawling. There is no time to mourn anyone. You have known your siblings for approximately 6 minutes, and several are already missing. The ocean grows louder. Waves crash ahead. The horizon appears open and low. Your flippers continue their frantic rhythm. You are exhausted, exposed, and possibly moving in the wrong direction. On natural beaches, hatchlings face predators including crabs, birds, raccoons, and foxes. Once they enter the water, fish and seabirds remain major threats. Estimates suggest only about 1 in 1,000 to 1 in 10,000 hatchlings survives to adulthood. How do you know where the ocean is? You have never seen it. No adult has shown you the route. You do not emerge with a tiny compass attached to your shell. Instead, you use a collection of instinctive environmental cues. Undeveloped beach, the landward side is often darker and higher. Dunes, trees, and vegetation form a dark silhouette. The ocean side usually has a lower, more open horizon where natural light from the sky is reflected. You tend to move away from the dark shapes and toward the brighter, lower horizon. Many people say hatchlings simply follow the moon. That explanation is attractive, simple, and not entirely reliable. The moon may help illuminate the seaward horizon, but hatchlings can still reach the ocean on moonless or cloudy nights. They respond to the broader pattern of light and landscape rather than requiring a perfectly positioned full moon to act as a celestial exit sign. This system worked well for millions of years. Then humans installed beachfront lighting, hotels glow, restaurants shine, roads flash with headlights, houses illuminate balconies, pools, and parking areas. Decorative lights wrap around palm trees because apparently the palm tree was not visible enough by itself. To your ancient navigation system, these lights can be overwhelming. The natural ocean horizon may now appear darker than the buildings behind you. Instead of crawling toward the waves, you turn inland. You and your siblings may head toward a hotel, road, or illuminated car park. You continue crawling because your instincts tell you that brightness means open horizon and safety. Your instincts do not understand electrical infrastructure. You may cross dry sand for hours. Every minute consumes energy and moisture. The yolk reserves inside your body are limited. Your muscles were prepared for a rapid beach crossing, followed by an offshore swim, not a guided tour of coastal real estate. Some disoriented hatchlings become trapped in vegetation. Some fall into drains. Some are crushed by vehicles. Some are found after sunrise, overheated and dehydrated. Others are eaten by predators that would never have encountered them if they had moved directly to the sea. Humans sometimes find hatchlings crawling around parking lots in the morning, which is the reptile equivalent of waking up and discovering that your newborn has followed a street lamp into another postcode. Suppose you are lucky. The beach is dark enough. The landward dunes form a clear shadow. The ocean horizon is open. You choose the correct direction. You crawl past a crab burrow, over a ridge of sand, and around a piece of driftwood. The sound of surf becomes thunderous. The ground beneath you grows cooler and firmer. Then something white rushes toward you. It is your first wave. Artificial beachfront lighting can disorient hatchlings, causing them to crawl inland instead of toward the open ocean horizon. Hatchlings naturally orient away from dark landward silhouettes and toward the brighter, lower seaward horizon. You have spent your entire life trying to reach the ocean. The ocean welcomes you by knocking you backwards. A wave surges up the beach, strikes your body, and flips you onto your shell. Water fills your nose. Sand spins around you. Before you understand what has happened, the wave retreats and drags you several centimeters toward the sea. Then it leaves you lying upside down. Your flippers slap uselessly at the air. This is not the majestic beginning you imagine. You twist your body, catch the sand with one flipper, and roll upright. Another wave arrives immediately. It tumbles you again. The surf zone is chaotic. Water moves in several directions. Foam hides the bottom. Sand is suspended around you. Each wave can carry you forward or throw you back onto the shore. But the moment you become fully submerged, your body changes from awkward to capable. Those enormous front flippers that made you look ridiculous on land begin functioning as powerful paddles. Your shell becomes streamlined. You push through the water with rapid strokes. You're not graceful yet, but you're finally in the environment for which you were designed. You must now move away from shore. This is urgent because shallow coastal water is packed with predators. Large fish patrol the surf, birds dive from above. Crabs can still catch hatchlings in very shallow areas. The longer you remain near the beach, the more likely something will notice you. Your first hours in the ocean are dominated by intense swimming behavior, often described as a swimming frenzy. You swim almost continuously. You do not stop to admire coral. You do not investigate interesting shells. You do not float on your back and celebrate. Your goal is distance. When waves pass through shallow water, they generally approach the coastline. Hatchlings can use the direction of wave motion to orient themselves offshore. Once farther from land, magnetic cues associated with Earth's field can help guide movement. Yes, you appear to possess a biological navigation system sensitive to the planet's magnetic field. You cannot solve a maze on paper. You cannot recognize your mother. You do not understand what a fish is until one tries to eat you. But you may be able to detect geographic information encoded in Earth's magnetism. Nature has an unusual approach to distributing skills. You swim through darkness, your small lungs force you to surface frequently. Each breath exposes your head. Beneath you, shadows move through black water. A fish approaches. You turn sharply. Its mouth closes behind your rear flipper. Another hatchling disappears nearby. Your group begins spreading apart. The safety of numbers weakens with every meter. You keep swimming, powered partly by the remaining energy from your egg yolk. Hours pass. The coastline becomes invisible. For the first time, there is no sand beneath you. There is only open ocean. After entering the sea, hatchlings begin an intense offshore swimming phase and can use wave direction and magnetic information as navigational cues. Reaching the ocean was not the end of the dangerous part. The ocean is the dangerous part. On land, at least you could see most threats approaching. In the sea, danger can arrive from above, below, behind, or directly out of a patch of water that appeared completely empty. Predatory fish can swallow you whole. Seabirds can pluck you from the surface. Sharks, squid, and other hunters may take hatchlings when the opportunity appears. Your dark upper shell helps you blend with the water when viewed from above. Your lighter underside can make you less obvious against the brighter surface when viewed from below. This countershading provides camouflage, but it does not make you invisible. You are still a bite-sized reptile swimming in a world where almost everything is larger than you. You must also find food. During the first stage of your journey, the remaining yolk absorbed into your body provides energy, but those reserves are temporary. Soon you must begin feeding on whatever small prey and drifting material your species can handle. A young loggerhead may eat tiny crustaceans, mollusks, gelatinous animals, fish eggs, and other organisms encountered near the surface. At your size, you are less a specialized hunter and more an exhausted floating mouth willing to investigate anything that looks edible. This creates another problem. The ocean contains plastic. Small fragments can resemble prey. Floating bags may look like gelatinous animals. Fishing line can loop around your flippers or neck. Hard pieces may be swallowed and remain inside your digestive system. You have survived crabs, birds, confusing lights, and the surf, only to encounter a transparent snack wrapper hundreds of meters offshore. Humanity has added packaging to the food web. Storms create additional danger. Strong currents can carry you away from productive habitat. Rough seas require more energy. Cold water can slow your body because you are a reptile whose performance depends heavily on environmental temperature. And you cannot simply climb onto land when tired. The shoreline behind you is now distant. Returning would bring you back into the surf and predator-filled shallows. Your best option is to continue outward, following currents that may carry you into offshore nursery habitat. Scientists once knew so little about this stage that it became known as the lost years. Hatchlings entered the sea and seemed to vanish. Years later, larger juveniles appeared in coastal feeding grounds, but where they had spent the intervening time was difficult to determine. Tiny turtles could not easily carry older tracking equipment, and the open ocean is too large to search turtle by turtle. Imagine a human maternity ward, releasing 100 babies into a forest, losing sight of them for 8 years, then calmly writing "location currently unknown" on the paperwork. Modern satellite tracking and ocean models have revealed more of the story. Some young turtles travel with major current systems. Rather than drifting as completely passive pieces of luggage, they can swim in ways that influence where they go. Their movement may help them remain within useful current zones and productive waters. If you reach one of these habitats, your odds improve slightly, only slightly. Small sea turtles may consume varied surface prey, while marine debris and discarded fishing material create risks of ingestion and entanglement. NOAA advises removing beach and ocean litter because turtles can mistake plastic for food or become trapped in fishing line and other debris. After days or weeks at sea, you may encounter a floating habitat. From below, it looks like a tangled roof. Brown gold seaweed gathers at the surface, moved by wind and currents. Small fish hide among it. Crabs cling to it. Snails, shrimp, and other tiny organisms occupy its branches. This is sargassum. To a human, it may resemble a drifting pile of wet garden waste. To you, it can be shelter, hunting ground, shade, and transportation combined. You push into the floating vegetation and become harder for some predators to see. Food is concentrated around you. The dark weed absorbs sunlight and can create a warmer microhabitat, which matters to a small, cold-blooded animal trying to grow. For perhaps the first time in your life, your surroundings provide more help than danger. Do not become too comfortable. Predators also visit floating habitats because they know small animals gather there. Birds can spot movement from above, fish wait below. The entire structure moves with currents that may carry you across huge distances. Still, this floating community can support you through the mysterious oceanic stage of your life. You begin growing, your shell hardens, your jaw muscles strengthen, your swimming becomes more efficient. You learn to dive beneath the surface and return for air. You investigate floating objects. You learn which movements signal prey and which shadows mean escape immediately. There are no lessons in the human sense. Every mistake is corrected by hunger, injury, or death. The turtles that learn poorly do not become turtles that learn better later. Months become years. You travel hundreds or thousands of kilometers. Ocean currents carry you far from your birth beach. Depending on where you hatched, you may cross much of an ocean basin before eventually moving toward coastal feeding areas. The phrase lost years makes this period sound peaceful and mysterious, as though you're taking time away to discover yourself. In reality, you are trying not to be eaten while growing from a biscuit-sized hatchling into something too large for most fish to swallow in one attempt. That size increase is critical. When you are tiny, almost every medium-sized predator is dangerous. As you grow, the list becomes shorter. Large sharks may still attack you. Humans remain a problem. Fishing gear remains a problem. Boats remain a problem. But the ordinary reef fish that could once consume you whole eventually become animals you can ignore. Survival becomes less like avoiding every mouth in the ocean, and more like avoiding several particularly large mouths plus an expanding catalog of human technology. Research using small satellite tags has shown that young sea turtles occupy offshore nursery regions, including floating sargassum habitats, and may both ride currents and actively swim to influence their movements during the lost years. Eventually, you leave the smallest juvenile stage behind. You are larger, stronger, and capable of traveling through deeper water. Your head becomes broad and powerful, especially if you are a loggerhead. Your jaws develop the force needed to crush hard-shelled animals such as crabs, whelks, and conchs. After years of being a potential meal, you finally begin approaching food with the confidence of something that owns bolt cutters. You move into coastal feeding grounds. Here, the ocean may be rich with prey, but it is also crowded with human activity. Fishing lines stretch through the water, hooks carry bait, nets form nearly invisible walls. Trawlers drag heavy gear across the sea. A turtle can become hooked while trying to eat bait. It can become wrapped in a gill net. It can be trapped in a trawl and drowned because sea turtles have lungs and must reach the surface to breathe. This is an especially cruel problem. You are an animal that can remain underwater for long periods when calm, but panic and struggling consume oxygen quickly. A net does not need to injure you directly. It only needs to prevent you from surfacing. Some fisheries use turtle excluder devices, escape openings, that allow captured turtles to leave trawl nets. Other management measures modify hooks, fishing locations, seasons, or handling practices. These interventions can save turtles because your greatest evolutionary weakness is that you were not designed to understand industrial fishing equipment. You can navigate using Earth's magnetic field, you can cross an ocean, you can hold your breath during deep dives, but a transparent nylon net may defeat the entire system. Boats create another hazard. A propeller can cut through your shell, a collision may cause internal injuries, development removes nesting habitat, coastal walls and buildings prevent beaches from shifting naturally inland. Rising seas and stronger flooding can wash over nests. Temperature creates a more complicated threat because nest temperature influences sex. Hotter beaches may produce heavily female-biased hatchling populations. Extreme heat can also reduce hatching success or weaken development. The same warm sand that determines sex can become too hot for embryos to survive. Sea turtles have endured natural climate changes for millions of years, but today they face rapidly warming conditions combined with hardened coastlines, artificial lighting, pollution, fisheries, and habitat loss. It is rarely one villain. It is a committee of villains holding a planning meeting. Yet conservation can work. Protecting nesting beaches, reducing artificial light, guarding nests, using safer fishing practices, and limiting direct hunting have helped many monitored sea turtle populations improve. A broad global analysis reported in 2025 found that many populations were rebounding where protections had been strengthened. This does not mean every population is safe. Different species and regions face different trends. But it proves that the story is not automatically headed toward disaster. Humans created many of the modern traps. Humans can also remove them. Fishing bycatch is a major threat to loggerheads, while warming nests, sea level rise, marine debris, coastal development, and artificial light affect multiple stages of the sea turtle life cycle. Recent global evidence also indicates that many protected populations are improving where conservation measures are strong. 10 decades may pass before you are ready to reproduce. You are no longer the tiny hatchling that struggled over footprints. You are now a large marine turtle capable of traveling across enormous distances. If you are male, you may spend the rest of your life at sea. If you're female, something remarkable eventually happens. You return toward the region where you hatched. Remember that beach? The one containing crabs, birds, confusing lights, collapsing sand, and a surf zone that repeatedly turned you upside down? You are going back voluntarily. Sea turtles often return to nest within the general region of their birth. Evidence suggests that Earth's magnetic field helps them navigate, and that young turtles may imprint on the magnetic characteristics of their home area. The planet itself may provide part of the address. Coastlines change. Beaches erode, magnetic signatures gradually shift. Yet after crossing vast stretches of ocean and spending years in distant feeding grounds, you can approach the area where your life began. You wait offshore until darkness. Then you swim toward land. For most of your life, your body has moved through water with power and grace. The moment you crawl onto the beach, gravity once again transforms you into exhausted luggage. You pull yourself across the sand. Perhaps lights from buildings distract you. Perhaps noise causes you to turn around without nesting. Perhaps a wall blocks access to suitable habitat. Or perhaps the beach remains dark and open. You climb above the tide line and begin digging with your rear flippers. One scoop at a time, a chamber forms beneath you. You lay your egg. Dozens of soft white spheres fall into the nest. Among them are hatchlings that may become male or female depending partly on the temperature of this exact patch of sand. You cover them carefully. You disguise the nest. Then you leave. You will not meet them. You cannot protect them from storms or predators. You cannot show them which horizon leads to the sea. You cannot guide them through the waves. Their survival will depend on the same ancient instructions that carried you through your first night. Weeks later, the sand may begin to move. Tiny hatchlings will break through the surface. They will crawl over one another. They will face crabs, birds, lights, footprints, and waves. Most will not survive. Perhaps only one from many hundreds or thousands will live long enough to return. But one may. And that one is enough to continue a journey that sea turtles and their ancestors have repeated for more than 100 million years. Research supports the idea that sea turtles use magnetic navigation and may imprint on regional magnetic signatures when young, helping adults return toward their natal nesting areas decades later. So how did you survive the most dangerous night of your life? Not because you were the strongest animal on the beach. You were not. Not because a parent protected you. No parent was present. Not because you understood the dangers. You had never seen a crab, a bird, a wave, or an electric light. You survived because millions of years of evolution had prepared your body for a sequence of tasks that had to occur in the correct order. Hatch, dig upward, wait for cooler sand, move toward the open horizon, cross the beach, enter the surf, swim away from shore, follow currents. Keep moving. Your instincts carried information you had never personally learned. Your oversized flippers were terrible for crossing land, but perfect for the ocean. Your remaining yolk supplied energy when no food was available. Your siblings helped you reach the surface and overwhelmed some predators through sheer numbers. Your first night was a race built from inherited instructions. It was also a reminder that survival does not mean safety. Reaching the ocean did not end your struggle. It moved the struggle into a larger arena. You faced fish, birds, storms, hunger, plastic, nets, hooks, and boats. You wandered through years that scientists could barely observe. You crossed regions so vast that a human would need maps, satellites, engines, and navigation equipment to complete the same journey. You did it with a brain smaller than a walnut and no luggage. It is easy to look at a hatchling crawling across a beach and see helplessness. And yes, you were helpless in many ways. A crab could kill you. A hole in the sand could trap you. A hotel light could send you toward a road. But helplessness was not the whole story. Inside your tiny body was one of the oldest successful survival programs on Earth. You carried the ability to navigate waves and current. You possessed sensitivity to environmental light and magnetism. You entered the ocean already performing behaviors essential to an extraordinary migration. You were vulnerable and astonishing at the same time. That may be the most important part of your story, because the dangers created by nature are ancient. Predators have always waited on beaches. Fish have always hunted in the surf. Storms have always destroyed nests. Sea turtles evolved around those dangers. The newer dangers are different. A hatchling cannot evolve quickly enough to understand that the brightest horizon may be a shopping center. It cannot distinguish a jelly-like animal from a plastic bag with perfect accuracy. It cannot learn that a nearly invisible fishing line is attached to a hook. Those are problems we introduced. And unlike a hungry crab, we can choose to behave differently. A darkened beachfront can allow hatchlings to find the ocean. A filled-in beach hole can prevent a turtle from becoming trapped. Removing fishing line can prevent entanglement. Protecting nesting habitat can give females somewhere to lay eggs. Changes to fishing gear can allow trapped turtles to escape. The solutions are less dramatic than the dangers. No one makes an action movie about turning off a balcony light. But to a hatchling crawling through darkness, that small decision can determine whether the bright horizon leads to the ocean or to a car park. So yes, it is terrible to be born as a baby sea turtle. Your mother buries you and leaves. Your siblings climb over your head. Your first walk is a predator-filled marathon. Your first bath is a series of punches from incoming waves. Your childhood disappears into an oceanic wilderness where nearly everything is larger than you. And if you survive for decades, you may return to the same beach and bury your own children before abandoning them to repeat the entire nightmare. But there is beauty in the journey too. You emerge beneath a sky filled with stars. Your body touches the ocean for the first time. You swim beneath glowing plankton. You shelter inside floating forests of sargassum. You cross warm currents that circle entire oceans. You grow from something that could fit in a human hand into a powerful animal capable of traveling thousands of kilometers. Years after leaving as a hatchling, you may sense the magnetic character of a distant coastline and navigate toward the beach where your story began. You are not merely surviving one dangerous night. You are carrying an ancient journey forward, and somewhere beneath the sand, another generation is already preparing to dig toward the surface. They do not know what is waiting above. They do not know about the crabs. They do not know about the birds. They do not know about the waves, the lights, the fish, or the enormous ocean stretching beyond the shore. They only know that the sand has cooled. It is time to move.